Let's see what OpenAI's ChatGPT has to say about England and if I agree or not. So starting with the best things, number one, rich history and cultural heritage. England has a fascinating history and has played a significant role in the shaping of Western civilization. From the Roman occupation to the Industrial Revolution, England has left its mark on the world. The country has also produced some of the world's greatest artists, writers and musicians. Definitely, that has got to be one of the biggest and best things about the UK. You can go anywhere and you see history from hundreds of years previous right in front of you. It is there. It is incredible. And that is what is amazing about living in England. That, you know, there is so much to learn about in a place that I live. So definitely, number one, spot on. Number two, world-class universities and education system. England is home to some of the world's leading universities, including University of Oxford, University of Cambridge. The education system is highly respected and offers a wide range of programs from undergraduate degrees to PhDs. Now, this seems very much focusing on universities. There are also some awful universities. I think this is the same with anywhere. I think the thing with Oxford and Cambridge, for example, is it's got a name to it, right? So whether or not, I don't know, I've never been to Oxford, I've never been to Cambridge, but it's sort of that whole thing of who you know rather than what you know. So yeah, I'm sure certain aspects of Oxford and Cambridge are great, but the normal person is not going there, right? And so if you look at the rest of the education system, granted, most of it is fairly good. You know, there isn't a school near me that would be classed as bad, but I'm sure in other locations there may be. Is it better than other cities, other countries? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. However, I'm pretty sure, yes, it is up there with the best. All I would say is the schooling system sucks the life out of children, sucks the creativity out of them. So, swings and roundabouts, I suppose. Number three, multiculturalism and diversity. England is a diverse, multicultural society. People from different backgrounds and cultures have come to England and contributed to the country's unique identity. Well, there is the whole thing of the nation's favourite dish is a curry. So, that's a big thing, I suppose. Now, that is quite a broad statement to say a curry. I don't know if it was it was a balti, which basically means a big pot. So it was actually invented over here. It's not a proper Bangladeshi or Indian dish. Anyway, what I think is, yes, we are more multicultural now than we ever have been, but there's still that divide. There's still a lot of ignorance. And what you often find is people from other ethnicities actually don't normally mingle as much and, you know, stick to certain locations more. Like if I'm thinking of where I am in Eastleigh, it's quite white. Winchester, it's even whiter. Winchester is one of the whitest places you can probably go to. So yeah, it sort of is, but there's still a long way to go, especially with inclusion and things. And the whole, the English spirit and all that, it probably is drifting off. But that's what happens. I think society evolves and people move. And so yes and no. Number four, beautiful countryside and landscapes. England is home to some stunning natural landscapes, from the rolling hills of the Cotswolds to the rugged coastlines of Cornwall. The country also has a rich wildlife and flora. Definitely. Look, England has so many incredible, beautiful places. Now, I remember when we were kids, we would go down to Cornwall and Devon. It is beautiful down there. The countryside roads with all the hills and looking out into the sea, and just stunning. Even outside my back door, pretty much, you know, you can take an awesome walk down the river. We actually did a walk from Eastleigh to Winchester along the river, and it's just amazing to have this beautiful countryside on your back door. And a lot of the UK is like that in general, where it doesn't take you too long to get somewhere that is just naturally beautiful. So definitely, I agree, England is a beautiful place. Number 5, iconic landmarks and attractions. England is home to many iconic landmarks and attractions, such as the Towers of London, Stonehenge, Avebury is better, the London Eye, Buckingham Palace. There is also a wide range of museums, galleries and theatres. Yeah, our museums are normally filled with stolen artefacts, but they're there, I suppose. But definitely, I think most 3 of them are talking about London. And granted, London does, because London's got a lot of history. But then you go further out, like Stonehenge. We've been to Avebury, which is just awesome. But there is a lot to see and do. And what I would say is, in the UK, actually we're talking specifically about England, get away from London. If you come to England, get away from London. If you want like natural beauty and landmarks, go somewhere like Durdledore, down on the Jurassic Coast, places like that. There is so much more to see outside of London. You have to get away. But definitely, we have a lot of landmarks and attractions. The things that aren't looking so good in England right now, number 1, the high cost of living. The cost of living in England, particularly in major cities like London, can be quite high. Quite. This includes the cost of housing, food and entertainment. So definitely, if you're in London, everything is expensive. If I ever go to London, I grumble and moan because everything is a rip-off. But where I'm from in Winchester, which is an hour away, it's London prices, housing-wise. But if you think about it as well, oh wow, our gas and electric has shot up. Our houses rely on gas, and they are so expensive. I at the moment, even with solar panels, I'm up to about, during the winter, about £150 a month just on gas and electric, and I am hardly having my heating on. It's currently 14 degrees, my heating, not very warm. So definitely everything is going up. I think this is clearly a global problem. Everything is going up with inflation and whatnot, but it's the issue of wages keeping up with inflation, which sadly probably isn't. Number 2, the inclement weather. England is known for its rainy weather, particularly during the winter months. This can make outdoor activities less enjoyable. Now, certainly, we have a cooler climate, let's just say. But the rain, see, actually, so far this year and this winter, it's not been that bad. Before Christmas was all right, just after Christmas was a bit horrendous, and now we're okay again. So actually, I think the whole England being rainy is a little bit dramatic. I don't think it's as bad as the stereotype. But let's be honest, it's not necessarily the warmest of places. But we don't often go below like -2 in the winter. So it's not, it could be worse. Number 3, crowded public transport and traffic congestion. Definitely. Before I even read it, definitely. The public transport system in England, particularly in London, can be crowded and busy. This can make commuting difficult and stressful. Now, yeah, London, definitely. But if we look local to me, because it's what I know, rush hour is awful everywhere. Even in my town here, we've got about 120,000 people. The road networks are not fit for purpose. Then you look at trains. For example, when my wife used to take the train to work, you would struggle in the mornings to get a seat. That's how bad it is. So definitely, motorways are bad. They're upgrading the motorways to smart motorways. So all the speed limits are now 50. It's so slow, takes you ages to get anywhere. It's a nightmare. So definitely, public transport is rubbish and also expensive. So why would you use public transport if you don't have to? Number 4, increased level of social inequality and crime rates. Like many developed countries, England is facing issues with social inequality and crime rates. This includes issues such as poverty, homelessness, and drug use. If you want to talk about drug use, Scotland is awful apparently. But yeah, look, this I think is what happens in a capitalist society that we live in. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Now, luckily where I am at the moment, I'm not poor, I'm not rich, I'm sort of sitting in between where I'm managing. Some months are a little bit tight, some do well. But you see, you can see on the streets the effect of these people that are really struggling. Now, don't get me wrong, there are people in our society, and I know people who just live on the dole because it's you earn more not working than you do by working. Now, how can that be right? That should not be right. You should not be earning more on benefits than you do working. So there are these social inequality problems that we have, and part of it is capitalism. And don't get me wrong, I've got no problem with capitalism as long as wealth is shared. Workers should get a better share of the product that they're making, in my opinion anyway. Not talking about communism or anything like that. Number 5, and the last one for worst things, health issues such as obesity and mental health problems. England has a high rate of obesity, which is linked to a range of health problems. Eating too much, basically. Eating too much. The country also has a high level of mental health problems such as depression and anxiety. First of all, the whole depression and anxiety thing seems to be something that has cropped up very recently and is really pushed now. I have bad days, but get on with it. I don't know. I'm not really one to talk about this because I'm sort of a bit stone-hearted almost. But health issues such as obesity, I think that's probably true with fast food and how cheap some fast food can be nowadays and how expensive, fresh fruit and veg, for example. I'm just using the same cliche line, but you know what I mean, how expensive that's getting compared to how cheap you can just get a takeaway so easily, and frozen food. And not all frozen food's bad, but I can certainly understand. We'll be catching up to America very soon. But we've got health issues and the health system. What I would add to that is the health system is struggling. And it's not necessarily the lack of money for the NHS, it's how the NHS wastes money and people are selfish with going to the doctors and things when they don't need to, when they could go to a pharmacist and whatnot. But yeah, I think that is a problem. Well, there are what AI thinks is the best and worst things about England. I think the multiculturalism is a tough one because I'm not sure it's part of the best things. Not in the fact that I don't think England is doing very well with it at the moment, if I'm honest, but it's getting better. But definitely the rest, the rich history, world-class I think the world-class universities is more about the name, to be able to put Oxford University on your CV. It says a lot. Whether or not you're educated enough is another matter, but it's who you know rather than what you know. But I certainly agree with the worst things, the high cost of living. Actually, I don't necessarily think the weather's awful. Could be warmer, granted. I'm messing my own system up now. Anyway, what do you think? Is England a place you would like to go? And does this list make you think, yeah, definitely, I need to go and visit? Make sure you like and subscribe. Check out charlieandrob.com, and I will catch you next time.